Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage dinner chairs Marge Magner and Sharon Terra.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the 2011 Making a Difference for Women Awards. It's great to be back here with my friends from the National Council for Research on Women. You know, I think one of my favorite sounds is that slightly high-pitched, exciting sound you hear when you enter a room that predominantly has many women in it. So I think you're all excited about this evening's event, and I can assure you it's going to be wonderful. So much good research and work has been done by the NCRW this year. You'll see it in this evening's program and our honorees, and of course you'll hear about the great work throughout the evening. I am particularly excited about the Emerging Leaders Network that is opening doors for young women in the nonprofit and business sectors. This program grooms and prepares a new generation of leaders, expanding their skills and making the connections with the mentors and the role models who will help them achieve leadership positions. The goal, and of course I have to point this out, that we have clearly witnessed through the financial crisis in the last few years, why this is so critical. The goal is to have women appropriately and proportionately represented on the boards and in the C-suites of the companies and organizations that impact the economic and social outcomes of the world. And I know you all agree with me on that. I'd also like to mention a new initiative of the Council, Triple Lifelines to Women's Economic Security, which of course couldn't come at a better time as women and their families struggle to make ends meet. We can always be sure the Council will focus on the right issues and get results. That's why we're here, and that's why we care. At a time when reliable research, expertise, and solutions are so needed, the National Council for Research on Women is there, paving the way towards transformation and positive change. That's why we're all here tonight. I'd like to add my personal congratulations to the honorees tonight. Thank you for everything you have done and will continue to do for women. Thank you all. Have a wonderful evening, and I'll turn it over to Sharon now.
Good evening, everyone. And what Marge says is really so true. The National Council on Research on Women is an organization that does truly great work, as evidenced by this afternoon's wonderful, wonderful sessions. I was very honored to receive this award myself in 2009 and brought along with me one of my mentees. She was truly inspired by the power in the room. And so I can say without hesitation that each and every one of you who is here with us tonight is in for a truly special evening. I appreciate the way the Council in particular brings experts together from different sectors, be they business, research, policy, philanthropy, people who work together to generate creative solutions. And certainly for someone from the corporate sector like myself, it's that kind of action-oriented solution information sharing that is truly priceless. You'll hear many great things about the exciting work of the Council throughout this evening, but without further ado, my job here is to introduce tonight's speaker. Natalie Morales is a familiar face on NBC's Today Show, and she's the national correspondent for NBC News. She's covered breaking news. You may have seen her at the Olympics, whether in Athens, Torino, or Vancouver, or you may have seen her reporting on the tsunami in South Asia, Hurricane Katrina, the death of John Paul II, or the war in Iraq. Natalie is a graduate of Rutgers University, an Air Force brat who grew up traveling the world, and she and I have three things in common. We both get up early, circa 4 to 4:15. We both speak Spanish and Portuguese. Natalie hails from Rutgers, and she's a reassuring presence that affirms the value of professionalism in broadcast news. Ladies and gentlemen, It's a great honor and a privilege to introduce tonight's MC, Natalie Morales. Join me in welcoming Natalie.
Oh, it's going to hurt tomorrow when we're getting up at 4:15. Sharon and Marge, thank you so much for that wonderful welcome. Good evening, everyone, and what a pleasure to be amongst you here tonight. A great group of women and a lot of powerful men in the room, and I'm honored to be with you for the 2011 Annual Awards Dinner of the National Council for Research on Women. My sincere thanks to everyone at the Council for giving me this opportunity to share what I know is going to be an incredible and very inspirational evening as well. I've already met some amazing people that I look forward to getting to know even better in the future. As a national correspondent for NBC News and a co-host of the Today Show, as you know, my job is to report on the exceptional events that shape our world and make history. And at the center of this history are always the stories that I love to cover the most are the power and the contributions of women and girls. From ending armed conflict to rebuilding after natural disasters to winning Olympic medals, as you know, women and girls are showing us that they have the talents and they have the skills needed to inspire us, and they can pretty much do it all. Thank goodness, times have changed, right? Well, despite much progress over the past few years, as you know, the struggle for women's advancement and equality is far from over. Interesting that last month the New York Times published, I think, what is a pretty shocking statistic about the dearth of women contributors to Wikipedia, which is the world's most popular online resource. And they found that only 15% of the hundreds of thousands of content contributors were female. And although many of my colleagues on the airwaves are women, our numbers are still small when you look at who's being interviewed on the Sunday talk shows, who are the big newsmakers of the day, whose bylines are appearing on the editorial and op-ed pages, and who's occupying the executive suites of media companies. Sadly, women are still very much underrepresented. And tonight we're celebrating 6 honorees whose leadership and vision have made a real difference in the lives of women and girls and are transforming all of our lives really every day. Through their courage and their dedicated effort, they have helped change the conversation and hopefully change the world around them in very meaningful ways. Through it all, as you know, there's one organization that continues to generate information and insight and partnerships like no other. So big round of applause for the National Council for Research for Women on Women, because it's so well deserved. For those of you who don't really know much about the organization, they provide the resources, the know-how to bring clarity, urgency, and solutions to some of the most pressing issues of our time. In collaboration with researchers and advocates, they're making sure that advancing rights and opportunities for women isn't viewed as a narrow special interest, but rather as a national and a global priority. It's not a small task, and of course it requires the vision of a very passionate and dedicated leader, and the Council is extremely fortunate to have at the helm the woman I'm about to introduce. She is herself an innovative thought leader, an experienced author and researcher, and a tireless advocate for the advancement of women and girls both domestically and globally. She has led the Council to become a thriving network of 120 research, policy, and advocacy centers with a corporate circle of major companies, many of you from so many of those companies here tonight, and a president's circle of leaders from higher education. Named an inspiring leader by the Women's National Basketball Association and a leader of the 21st century by Women's E-News, she's a woman who's truly making a difference. Please give a warm welcome to the President of the National Council for Research on Women, Dr. Linda Bash.
Thank you. Well, good evening, everyone. And thank you, Natalie, for that gracious introduction and for serving as our MC this evening and for being a woman who's making a difference in broadcast journalism. I also want to thank our dinner chairs, Michelle Clayman, Marge Magner, Sharon Taylor, and Melinda Wolf. our co-chairs, our vice chairs, our board and staff. We have a lot of people to thank tonight. Our stellar dinner committee, and everyone who's worked so hard to make this evening a memorable one. And a special shout out to Kerry Pereno, who went far above and beyond the call of duty. Thank you, Kerry. And I want to thank all of you who are with us tonight, because your presence shows that you believe in our mission and in the work we do. Indira Gandhi's grandfather used to tell her that there are basically two kinds of people: those who do the work and those who take the credit. He recommended that she aim for the first group, since she would face a lot less competition there. As you'll see, our honorees tonight are very much in the group with those who do the work. With vision and determination, they have made extraordinary contributions to the world. The National Council for Research on Women is so proud to honor Michelle Bachelet, Ed Gilligan, Peter and Patricia Gruber, Mickey Siebert, and Ruth Simmons for their fantastic achievements. Tonight, we're also going to screen a video tribute to 7 feminist icons who are stepping down from leadership positions at our member centers. As you'll see, these visionary women have had a decisive impact as national and global leaders. Now is the time, like no other in recent history, when women are being recognized as necessary agents for solving the world's most intractable problems, from confronting the global economy, to ending poverty, to protecting the environment, and building peace. But the only way we can be successful in addressing these challenges is by building collaborations also, and by being a unified movement for transformation. The National Council for Research on Women is an umbrella organization that pulls all of these pieces together. And we have collective dreams for the future. What are these dreams? First, we dream of bringing economic security to women and girls. 15 million women live in poverty in the US, and globally, 70% of the world's poor are women. How can that be in 2011? Our second dream is to create a critical mass of women in leadership across sectors, including business, education, the sciences, government, and the arts. Research confirms that diverse groups make more effective and creative decisions, yet the number of women in leadership positions has stalled at 15 to 17% in most areas. We need to break this stalemate. Our third dream is to work with all of you brave men who are here with us tonight to correct these imbalances. And next year, we want to remove the glass ceiling at our dinner and triple the number of men who attend this event. And I'm looking at you, Matt Winkler. Thank you so much for being here with us again this year. And a big thank you to all of our other previous honorees who are in the audience tonight. I'll clap for Matt. He's a man who's really making a difference. We know that it's only with visionary women and men working side by side that we'll be able to tackle inequality and launch a new era in which the talents of all people can unfold and flourish. In many ways, this is a historic moment of promise. Movements for change are breaking out across the Middle East and North Africa, and in many instances, we're seeing women playing active roles. But no matter what kind of change follows, we must ensure that the full participation of women and girls is protected and encouraged at every level of society. And at the same time, here in the US, recent attacks on women's reproductive rights remind us that we still have a long road to travel before women enjoy the full participation of laws and reforms needed to lead healthy, safe, self-sustaining lives, not only here in the US, but around the globe. But I'm fundamentally optimistic because we have a new wave of leaders with deep commitment and new approaches, as we see from the inspiring leadership taking the reins in our own network. Together, we're propelling the movement for transformative change. As Mark Twain said, "Do the right thing. It will gratify some and astonish the rest."